I feel that you smell that fresh cut grass. I'm back in my helmet, cleats, and shoulder pads. Standing in the huddle, listening to the call. Fans going crazy for the boys that fall.
All right, guys. Well, I'm sorry that it took me so long to get a new video up. I've been kind of busy doing my things, getting some things straightened out. I was actually just got back from a high school reunion for the Lawton MacArthur class of, I guess that would be 2002, right? Since this is 2012, so '02. So whoop whoop to those guys for lasting as long as they did. But now this is about college football, and it's the preview for the Big 12 and some of the elite top 25 upset alert teams that are in the country right now. We'll start in the Big 12 since that's my natural born area, being an Oklahoma guy. So we'll start in the Big 12. Miami and Kansas State. With these two teams meeting, I kind of like I like Kansas State in this matchup because it is a home game. Kansas State did beat them in Miami last time, not by dramatic fashion by any means. It was a very close game, but not in a blowout of sense. But it was a very close game all the way through, and Kansas State did end up winning that matchup. The Cyhawk Trophy is up for grabs this weekend. Iowa State and Iowa. The game is being played in Iowa City and at the University of Iowa. So I kind of see the Big Ten getting this one. I guess the only thing that Iowa State has for them is that they have a returning quarterback and a pretty decent amount of running backs. Because we all know that Iowa lost the quarterback that Oklahoma beat in the Insight Bowl a couple years ago, last season. And their running back is just, they're on their whole team. This is about upset top 25 alerts. Their whole running back core is on injury alert right now, to where they have to have everybody rocking and rolling, because if they don't have one person step up and kind of take that, that could be some trouble with all the running backs that they already do have out. Next on the docket is Rice at Kansas. I got to be completely honest with you. I like Rice in this game. It's being played in Kansas. Dan Chris knows that offense. He knows how to run it. So at least for this season, I see Charlie Weiss getting 6 or 7 wins, maybe a bowl win. Depends on how Dan Chris teaches it after this season, to where if they're going to have success after this season's over. But as far as this season's concerned, I see them taking care of business with a team like Rice. Next is Texas Tech at Texas State. Now, Texas State pulled off probably one of the bigger upsets. I'm not gonna say it's the biggest, because Houston's not the same Houston that it was when my boy from the Boomer Soonerland, we'll get to their game later, Kevin Sumlin, was there at Houston. But for a Division I program, their first year in, to come in and knock off a team like a Houston, that was a big-time win. I do not see that happening again. I don't care if the game being played in San Marcos. I don't care if the game was playing in Timbuktu. I see Texas Tech game planning for this game. They've schemed for it. They're ready for it. They know what happened last week when they played Houston, which is basically the same offense that Tech has. They know how to run it. They know how to do it. They know what they have to do. And this time, Texas Tech is going to get it done. Big 12 newcomer, TCU Horned Frogs. Welcome to the Big 12, as they will open the Big 12 season officially now with a football game this weekend. It will be Grambling State at Texas Christian. I see TCU winning this game. Maybe not a band, the bands, maybe not a battle of the bands kind of a thing, but it's not proven in the battle of bands. It's proven on the football field, and that's got to be a big upshot to TCU, which, by the way, their stadium is just it's growing as we not necessarily as we speak. It grew last year, and it grew from a couple of years ago, so they've expanded. Florida A&M at my University of Oklahoma Sooners. This one, easy win for Oklahoma. I mean, it's a pick your score kind of ball game. I mean, last weekend, when OSU played the same kind of team from the same conference. Now, Savannah State's a little bit worse. Savannah State, they're like the Kansas or the Baylor of the league. Florida A&M's kind of like, if in Big 12 retrospect, they're kind of like Kansas State, Texas Tech, how they used to be. If they were still in this league, Texas A&M, a pretty big time name that can get you if you're not ready. That's who Florida A&M is in that league. Now Oklahoma, like I said, should mop the floor with these guys, and I think that they will. They're going to get Trey McGuire. They're going to get all these young players that have to get Sterling Shepard. All these young guys. They're going to get them time and time and time at the receiver slot. 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 catches if they can. As many catches as they want to get them. This is the time to do it before the Kansas State match in 2 weeks. While that's going on, New Mexico and Texas will be getting it on. David Ash was pretty accurate last time around. This game should be pretty much the same. Maybe a little bit of a upgrade in talent as far as who we're going to play. They're a little bit better than Wyoming. But they're still not who they're going to play next week in Ole Miss. They're still not that team that can just say, wow, they're really going to go out there and play those guys right there on the football field. So Texas should win this game by pretty significant margins. And I think that they will. And finally, the Big 12 team in action this week. Number 19, Oklahoma State Cowboys will be at Arizona. The interesting stat here is that Wes Lunt, the starting quarterback at Okie State for the Pokes, only completed 11 on 11 passes. He only threw 11 passes. He completed all those passes, which is impressive in my opinion. But still, it's not like he went 20 for 20 in the ball game and threw for 300 yards and 1,600 total touchdowns. He started 11 for 11. Now, the running game helped a lot. I would have left the quarterback in there for a little while, let him get his feet wet a little bit. But I'm not Mike Gundy. Top 25 teams to be alert on the upset. What about this one? Now, this is one that not a lot of people are talking about, but it is a home game for Syracuse. As number 1 USC Fighting Trojans with the swords and the and the annoying fight songs and all that, they're going to be versus Syracuse. Now, not necessarily in the dome, Carrier Dome. This game's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be at the MetLife Stadium, where the New York Giants and the New York Jets play now. So that game's going to be kind of interesting. I think it would be a little bit more interesting if the game were a little bit later in the season and it was a little bit colder. But you never know what could happen. Maybe they sell out maybe Syracuse sells out this ball game. I don't know. This is the game that ESPN College Game Day, Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, Aaron Andrews used to be on this show. Now I believe it's Jim Brown, who used to be on the Longhorn Network. All those people, all the ESPN analyst guys, they're all at this game. Number 23, the University of Florida, the Gators, are being hosted by the Texas A&M Aggies, the longest fight song in SEC and former Big 12 history. Now, this game, I like A&M because it's a home game. But I will say that Texas A&M, the last couple of times they've played an SEC team, they've lost. And that includes last year when they played Missouri, who they'll meet later on in the year, but they're not officially in their division. So since the Big 12 has been initiated, they haven't really beaten a team from the SEC. And plus the fact that they have a starting quarterback that's going to be either a redshirt freshman or true freshman. I believe it's a true freshman, straight out of high school, who hasn't ever took a snap in college football. They were at Louisiana Monroe last weekend with the hurricane that came in. He was not able to practice. He was not able to play. They were not able to postpone that football game. That is the worst news Aggie fans could have had. The best, this game's at home, at Kyle Field. Not an easy place to win. Speaking of not easy places to win, Washington and LSU. I see the Mad Hatter in this one. I don't like the guy. Oh, I know Oklahoma and Oklahoma State fans don't like the guy, but there's no doubt Les Miles wants his team out there, and I think they're going to win this game. Just in my opinion, but that's just what I think. Speaking of former Big 12 teams, we've got two of them coming up next. The first of the two, number 17th ranked Nebraska, the Cornhuskers. The Huskers and the Corn, they're heading to Cali at UCLA. Bo Pelini is 2-0 against these UCLA Bruins, I do believe. I see 3-0. I like their new coach. He used to be. I like their new coach, Jim Mora Jr., former Atlanta Falcons coach. But you got to get this guy some time before he can actually say, hey, I'm actually going to do this. With that being said, now you have to play defense against a team that's improving. Their running game is getting better. Burkhead will be back here in a couple of weeks, but until he gets back, they got the other guy. And plus, and listen to me when I say this, and please don't laugh at me, an improved passing game by Zach Taylor, I do believe. An improved passing game. He's improved his passing game. He knew what he had to do. He went out there and he did it. By the Nebraska quarterback, improved his passing game. He improved it. We all remember what happened last time. The Oklahoma fan saw him, and he threw that ball across his body right into Travis Lewis's arm grips, intercepted, and wins Oklahoma the Big 12 title in the next series as they go in and score on their next few possessions to blow out Nebraska. This guy has improved his passing game, and it will show against this defense. Another interesting former Big 12er, Missouri, will host number 6 Georgia, the Bulldogs. Now this one, I like Missouri for a couple of reasons. Number one is their quarterback. He's the son of a former Sooner man, former Sooner tight end. He's a good quarterback, and you know what he's going to do now that he's healthy. He's going to run the ball. And when this guy can't run the ball, what's he going to do? He's going to 5 wide out and spread it. And Georgia has a couple of nicked up corners and defensive backs and safeties. That will all but help Missouri in that spread offense. They'll spread them out and be ready to rock and roll and play hard and be ready to rock. Finally, Air Force at 8th ranked Michigan. You go from probably one of the biggest powerhouses of spread them out, gun them out of Alabama, a pound you in the face kind of running game, to more of an option attack. In the 7 days, I think that this being a home game, I think Michigan will capitalize, but don't be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to be. I'm saying don't be surprised if this game is, speaking of that game day that's the fourth, closer than the experts think. Maybe a field goal or a touchdown or 17-point game. A lot closer than what the experts may think. Finally, this one is for just you OU Sooner fans. It was announced this morning about who will be doing the intro to the song, the intro to the video. Of course, once again, it looks like and sounds like from multiple sources that it's still going to be the theme song from the boxing show. But the voiceover will be different once again this year. They've had Spencer Tillman do it last season. They had a couple of other guys do it. This time, it's going to be Ed Harris. Yes, that Ed Harris. Ed Harris, there was not a football player at the University of Oklahoma named Ed Harris. It is the Ed Harris, movie star Ed Harris. He's been in a couple of big time things. 1989, I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. 1989, he was in the movie called The Abyss. You may have heard that one from the 80s. From the 90s, of course, everybody knows this movie. I must have seen it about 4 or 5 times, which means that's about 10, 15 hours watching this movie because it's a pretty long movie in its own right. But it is darn good, and if you haven't seen it, shame on you, and you need to. He was in Apollo 13, the movie with Tom Hanks. Also, in the 2000s, he was in the movie Radio, based on true story. And finally, he was in the movie. This isn't actually a movie. It's a video game. It's called Call of Duty Black Ops, the video game for Xbox. He actually voiced one of the characters from that game. So that's pretty cool. So he's going to be doing the intro to the whole OU video intros. I'll be doing an OU post-game show for the Florida A&M game. Until that time, I'm Harry James. Thank you for watching this Big 12 and Top 25 Upset Alert special. This has been Harry James. Thank you very much. And Aaron, have a great football Saturday, everybody. Enjoy tailgating.
It went just anybody in that club. Took every ounce of heart and sweat and blood. Get to wear those game day jerseys down the hall. Kings of the school, man, where the boys are